All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott from Jeff Teaches Programming. It's been a while since I've created any videos, so it's time to get back to it. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back and I'm going to do a file, save all here. And if you remember, I've got a project in here that's called BMIEFCore01, which I believe works. I'm not even going to try it, but I believe it works. Okay. And what I'm going to do here, my mouse is going nuts here. There we go. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go in and make a copy of it. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste. And this is going to be BMIEFCore02. All right, so let's first come in here and do that. Let's come in and grab where we've got this on our CS proj. So let's edit the file. Let's see, I think everything that's in it, I shouldn't even have to edit it. I think that's going to all be okay. So let's go in and change the name to 2. I don't know this user file. Yeah, I shouldn't have to touch that one at all. All right, so hopefully at least I'm okay. So let's come in and start a Visual Studio again. Bring this up, our Entity Framework projects. And now what I'm going to attempt to do, I'm going to close this one. And I'm going to come in, close everything. So now the only thing you see is EFCore1, BMI library, the person app we just finished, and the validation library. So let's right mouse click on our solution and choose Add Existing Project. We will come over to our EFCore folder, projects, and we will find EFCore2. And hopefully that brought it in. So now I've got virtually, for lack of better words, an exact duplicate of what I had before. All right. So let's bring these two up. And I don't even remember what color they are. Not like that's really important one way or the other, but let's see. Quick actions, refactoring, rename. Well, let's see. Let's do this. I'm going to come in and make some changes right away, such as I'm going to make this our active project. And then over here, I'm going to rename this where it says 4th. I'm going to make it 5th. All right, that's good. Of course, it'll give me an error, but now hopefully it's been fixed. I told it to fix everything else that was in here, so hopefully it did. And let's view the designer. Hopefully that'll come up cleanly. Here's our stats. Let's see if we can view the designer for that also. All right, so these were blue. I like to do this just so I can distinguish between what we had. I think I've already done one with purple. Something tells me, so I'm going to do this. Make it that little, whatever you call that color. Okay. All right. And here. So we're going to make all these and these two. Now that wasn't that big of a change, but Like I said, for lack of better words, it made me feel a little better. And where I have the C# BMI body mass index, whoops, that's good, Jeff. Body mass index, GMI program, where it's got entity, good golly, Jeff, right? Where I've got entity framework core version 01, I'm going to change it to 02. So there's that one changed. And let's go back to the design and do the same thing here. I'm going to just change this to so it looks more like the one we've got here. So we're going to go to here. All right. And we'll just add on to the end of this start screen. There. All right. No big changes. But the other thing I want to do here is when you look, I have right now, I want to look at the databases. And I have a database, BMI database, but I do not have a BMI database 2. I want to say that again. I've got the database, but I do not have a BMI database 2. All right there. So I'm going to come into my app config, and notice I've already put it in. So BMI database 02 is in there now. All right, so that's the first thing that I wanted to do. Was that big a thing? The answer is no, but like I said, I wanted to put that in there. All right, now the other thing I want to do quickly, you can close this. Let's just do a file save all here. And for now, at least, let's close these. Now, you know this as well as I do, and that is I'm going to come into here, and I don't need that open either, but I'm going to right mouse click on here, and I'm going to add a new folder. In fact, I'm going to add 2 of them. The first one we'll add is a data folder. All right. And the second one that we will add will be our models folder. Now, hopefully you remember this for our models folder. All right. What we'll want to put in there, trying to remember what we did last time. Let's see. So for our person one, in our models folder, we put in a person, right? We've had all of our information in there. All right. And for our data folder, we had our context file and our repository file. Okay, that's good. So let's close that. So again, in here, in our models folder, we're going to add a new class. And looking at my notes here, sorry. Okay. We'll call this, I don't know, BMI person. It's kind of a dumb name, but that's fine. So I'll put that in there. First thing I'm going to do is make this public. All right. And then we have to start adding our information. Okay. So we've done this before. Let's start by saying this is going to be a key. Now, what you're going to notice once we do this is it's going to go and add for us up here. It just added this. All right. And we're going to put in here public int. So since we're calling a BMI person, this is kind of, we'll just use like we did before. We'll say person ID, and we'll put in our get set. All right. So that's going to be the key. So that's the first thing. Next, we're going to have height and the weight, and they're both going to be required. Again, with our get set, another required, public int weight with our get set. All right. And what I forgot, since it's a person, well, let's put in a height or a first and last name also, okay? So again, we'll put in another required here. And we'll say public string first name with a get set, and another one required with a public string last name with a get set. And I want to put this over 2 lines. As you can see, you can put it in 1 line. It doesn't hurt anything. And let's take this and set it equal to string.empty so we don't get those warnings. And we'll do the same thing here. All right. Now for height and weight, we can, if we want to, we could take this, but I believe it automatically sets it equal to 0 if there's nothing set for it anyway. But we could put that in if we wanted to. All right, so I'm going to just leave it out. So now I'm going to add here public. Well, we're going to create a BMI for everybody, but we're not inputting a BMI or a BMI status. So I'm not going to put required there. I can, but I'm not going to. So I'm going to put here public double. And these should be capitalized. I want to make sure I'm doing it right from the start here. That should be height, and that should be weight. There we go. BMI, and again, we'll put in a get set. And we'll have a public string BMI status, again with a get set, and again we'll say equals string.empty. All right, we're almost done here. And we'll do the same kind of thing we did before so we can use it for ordering. We're going to put in here public date time. We'll call it date created. Don't worry, it's going to give me some errors right now, it looks like, and that's fine. And we'll put in here again a get set. All right, now it's a little crazy here, but we're going to fix this in just a second. All right. Should just be date time. There we go. All right. So what we've done here is this is a class. This is the class that we will use to create a BMI person table. All right. So it's got basically, when you look at it, there's an ID. We didn't have that. But what I want to show you here is if we go in and look at our BMI stats, we've got what? First name, last name, height, weight, BMI, and BMI status. And now if we look here, we've got first name, last name, height, weight, BMI, and BMI status. So what's new here is our key field and our date created field. All right, but other than that, it's got basically everything that we had in here. And I wanted you to see and hopefully at least understand that. So let's do a file save all on here. And I believe we can take this one now and close it. All right. Again, you can see all this stuff in here that's grayed out. So technically, we don't need any of this. I like to keep the using system in there. All right. And we have no errors. It's not showing us any errors in here right now. So that's good. So file, save all. All right. So that's a start. The next thing I want to do is I want to come in here into our data folder. So I can leave that one open or close it. It doesn't matter. But I want to come into our data folder and I want to add a new class. And this is going to be BMIDbContext.cs. Again, we'll start out by making this public. All right, for lack of better words, this isn't going to be the greatest comment, but where did I put the comment on this one? put it after namespace. So, yep. So we'll put it here also. This file will be used to communicate between the program and the database. Again, not maybe the greatest comment in the world, but it'll work for what we're doing. All right. Now, in order to use this, I believe at least we're going to have to add another using statement in here. So I'm going to say using models, BMICore02.models. Just .models should be fine. All right. So this is going to need to come in here, and it's going to have to all right, now I know we had this problem before. I'm trying to remember offhand. It's been a while. So I'm missing a reference. Okay, so let's come in here and let's do this right away. Probably a little early to do this, but I'm going to do it now anyway. That is, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to come in and do my tools, NuGet Package Manager console. I want to set the default project now to BMI BMIEFCore02. See, does it remember this? No. Oh boy, it's been a while since I typed this stuff in. I got to go back through my notes. Because I want to put it in correctly. Not incorrect, but I want to put it in the database, and I want to put it in the database in a correct manner. All right, hold on for just a second. I'll go get it from an old program. Just a second, please. All right, I believe I found it. And I'm going to try to put all of them in here right now. So this is going to probably go over quickly over 4 lines because I just copied it. All right, so let's see. Install Entity Framework Core. Design. So design tools. SQL Server. I think they're all in here already, but I'm not sure. So, okay, so there's that. There's design. There's tools. They should all be in here now. All right. And the way that I can tell whether or not they're in here, I should be able to tell whether or not they're in here, is I should be able to now go over to here and go to Manage NuGet Packages, and it should show me what's been in here. So, Entity Framework Core, Core Design, SQL Server, and Tools. Good, that's what I wanted in here. All right, but I'm still getting an error here. And it's a using statement. See if I can remember that. Pull that out from here. So if we go back to our person app, which I don't want that. But if I go back to the person app, data. All right, so I should need these two. And the other one too. All right, so let's close that. and let's add that. Now my error went away. I can use DB context. So what I had to add here was using Microsoft.Entity Framework Core. All right. So again, we are doing our file that we're going to use to communicate here, or at least try to. So put the same comment I put in the last one, I think, or something similar. So this DB set represents the BMI person table. All right, so we've got public DB set and of BMI person. We can call it persons. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And we'll put a get set in there. Let's just call it person, because it's going to represent a single row, basically. So we've got that. All right. And protected override void on configuring. Okay, it added a bunch of stuff for us, some of which we'll use, some of which we will not use in just a second. All right. So we've got this. I just call mine options instead of options builder. I think it's easier to work with. Okay. This we don't need at all. So we're going to replace that, all right, with use the connection string from the app.config file here. All right. So options.useSQL server, put a paren there, and it's going to be on a few lines down. So let's just, oh boy, put that up here, and we're going to say data source equals, we've done this before, local DB MSSQL local DB. And again, that means we're using our own machine here, for lack of better words, as our server. Initial catalog. Is going to be equal to BMI database 02. And finally, integrated security equals true. All right, now we can end our paren, and we're getting an error because we need a semicolon at the end of this. Now that is it for this file. Remember, this is our communications mechanism. It's telling us we're using our local machine. It's telling us that the name of the database is going to be BMI database 02. And it's telling us that the integrated security is true, meaning, for lack of better words, we're just going to be using basic Windows. All right. EFCore cannot work without a DB context. The DB set that you see up above in line 13 is going to represent our database table. This on configuring method that you see right here, for lack of better words, it's going to wire up SQL Server so that we're able to use it with EFCore. All right. I think that's enough in this particular one because we've got to be probably 20 or 25 minutes in already. 26 minutes in almost. So we're going to stop right here and I'm going to pick it up, but probably won't be till tomorrow, okay? We'll see if I've got time to go a little further on today or not. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.